Okay. I was going to post something yesterday about changes in Evocati, right? And then I thought to myself, it wasn't Evocati, it's a tech preview. And I thought to myself that I'm not going to do this. There's lots of reasons why things in the tech preview aren't it is not 3.9 or 4.9, excuse me. The tech preview is not the 4.9 patch. That is not a 4.9 Evocati. That was a tech preview. It's different. So the changes that are there could be old and not new, right? And I think Mr. Kraken mentioned in Twitch chat that our quantum fuel was updated in the past. I didn't read this Reddit post, but that was the point that I'm trying to make, is that all of the things that we're looking at, and I'll just bring this up because this is not really the point of what we're talking about, but this was on Reddit posted by somebody. I don't know who. And all these negative numbers are how much less quantum fuel all the ships have. And then at the same time, they also made the tanks that a Starfarer holds much, much smaller, right? So there's a chance, guys, that the build that the tech preview on is quite old because there's been quite a bit of instability over time. So maybe they're trying to test out instancing on a more stable build, and that build may have these changes in them, right? So, but then everybody starts getting their pennies in a bunch about things, and they start discussing things that I find to be we just think about Star Citizen sometimes in a really weird, goofy, and wrong, in my opinion, wrong way. Somebody in my Twitch chat said, SRV owners need some love. Or fuel should matter or something. And we go about everything about Star Citizen in this weird way now. I think it's because we don't expect the game to be fun or something. It's very weird. And CIG goes about it in a very weird way as well because they sell their spaceships. And I proposed this question. Hold on, let me turn the alert sounds off. Thank you very much. What if, the SRV is a perfect example because this is exactly what CIG did. They got into a meeting and somebody said, what if a ship was a tow truck? And somebody was like, oh, amazing idea, right? Instead of going, hey, what if a tow truck ship is fun? Let's investigate that. They don't actually investigate the fun before making and selling you the ship, right? So what if CIG went about this in the way they actually communicate Star Citizen to you, right? You're here on the ground floor, your feedback matters, and all that. What if, a ship like the SRV comes in the PTU, or maybe it only sits in PTUs. It never is on a live server. It's only in a PTU. What if the PTU was filled with a bunch of ship ideas? Maybe not their final look, but their idea and how they play. And then they sell it to you. I feel like it would take ship sales and make them so much less bad. Because it's this collaborative effort between the players and the dev team. And the artists can do their art thing after the ship is designed and found to be enjoyable and work within the Star Citizen ecosystem, right? And then, oh my God, imagine this. You could sell the big, the medium, and the small one all at the same time because they're figured out. More work for them and less money. How is it more work for them when they have to go back and fix every single ship now. Maybe it is a little bit more work, but I feel like it's just putting a ship in a PTU, right? That'll be their answer, sure. Like, so that's like one thing. But again, it's more of a mentality about how we think about Star Citizen as well. Not just how CIG develops the game, where they like have an idea that might be good, but they have no idea. They sell you the thing for real money. And then and again, this argument of it costs more money, it takes more time. They're now spending all of their time trying to figure out how to make mining fun with a bunch of mining ships that may not make sense, how to make salvage fun with a ship like the Reclaimer, which doesn't make any sense, how to make the SRV fun with, no element of game design that makes any sense around any of this stuff. What else? Oh, the main discussion here, refueling. We don't need refueling ships. Like, that's the thing, is somebody made the argument of refueling should matter. And it's like, well, no, it shouldn't in the current landscape of the current game, because CIG is using this incredibly, the opposite of what Star Citizen is quantum travel. Everything about quantum travel is the exact opposite of what Star Citizen is, what it breathes, what it eats, everything it's about. It's completely hands-off. It's not tactile. It's not immersive. It is a piss break, right? It's like I can literally go make breakfast. Also, reminder of why you shouldn't be freaking out about any of this stuff. Most of these ships, especially the small ones, would not be able to do any travel really at all in Pyro. Like, none. It would be very difficult to do this. So another reason of like why this probably isn't a thing that is going to end up in 4.9 live. It's probably some tech preview oversight, right? Friction makes things matter. Just like not losing item makes crafting meaningless, the lack of friction makes everything meaningless. Yes. So that statement in itself is true. But the type of friction is what matters. I think I described this when I was going to post a video yesterday. The friction that is quantum travel is like a rug burn. There's friction that's good. You know? Do I have to describe it? I don't think so. And there's friction that's not. That was their original pitch about Pyro. Yes, and that's exactly what I'm trying to talk about, is their original pitch is a bunch of people who don't play Star Citizen sitting in a meeting and going, what if we did this? And then somebody who doesn't play Star Citizen going, you know what? You got it, man. You're right. And in reality, nobody knows in that meeting whether this will be fun or not until it gets to us. So that's like kind of what we're talking about here, is it's a bunch of ideas that may or may not be good. Some of them good, some of them bad. In the end, a vast distance between one place and another that is completely hands off. That is the real thing here, right? Like the solar flare that never came. That could be fun, but the way it worked, like, hey, I'm mining right now, and then all of a sudden a random solar flare comes, and it's just like, for no reason. It's like standing somewhere, and then randomly somebody slapping you in the back of the head. And it's like, okay, friction is good if there's a reason for the friction, right? Have I ever had to move 20 plus battleships in EVE? That is the most niche situation of all time. The answer to that question is no, right? But there's friction in EVE that does make sense, which is like, I don't know, maybe the amount of cargo that you can hold. Is this gate camped on the other side? So on and so forth. And when I'm moving things, it's very active, right? So if I'm in EVE Online and I'm jumping gate to gate, at least I'm clicking something. At least I'm moving around. Again, Star Citizen could potentially be 10 minutes of literally a loading screen. It isn't a loading screen because the game is there, although it is because things are streaming in and out. But there's no screen in front of you or anything, but that it is essentially the same thing. The argument here isn't friction is bad. The argument is the type of friction is bad. Quantum travel, period, is a bad experience. Period. It is one of those things that they could have and should have looked at a long time ago and went, yeah, we should probably do this differently before we move too far down the line and can't change it enough. Now, I am aware that there is a new quantum travel at some point, right? What that looks like at this point, since it's 3 years later, since they last talked about it seriously, don't know. The last thing that we knew was like you had to play a mini game to get into quantum travel. So you played a mini game to sit still and do nothing again. And then the other arguments are, well, we should have to do things. This is again the Star Citizen mentality that is just so broken. CIG comes up with a bad idea, and then all of the backers come up with ideas to band-aid that bad idea by like, well, you should repair your ship while you're in quantum travel. No, dude, you should have to repair your ship if your ship is broken to get into quantum travel, not while you're in quantum travel, right? The pilot should be actively doing things. And also, I imagine multi-crew ships, if the game was ever good, would be fairly popular. So the pilot should feel active and have an active role in the game and be doing something, right? So the pilot could be flying. The pilot could make that travel time shorter by being a better pilot, more fuel efficient by being a better pilot, so on and so forth. I mean, I don't know if you guys know anything about like global shipping or ships, right? But I don't know how many years ago, but fuel prices were getting expensive or something like that for ships, and ships were designed to go, let's say, 20 knots, and then the big shipping companies were like, don't go over 15 knots, because the way the engines work is the fuel consumption is like astronomically less. If you go down by 10%, you save 30% of fuel, right? And then bam. But we can have like a mini game of some kind, or just, making a better route or whatever. I've spoken about this before. I have absolutely, outside of the bugs, and bugs are bugs, they're going to happen sometimes in an alpha. It's just going to be a thing. I have absolutely no problem with jump point travel. Jump point travel is fantastic. It's about 1.5 to 2 minutes long. It's active the entire time, and I get to a significant different place when I do it. There is zero wrong with that experience. Quantum travel is the exact opposite of that. It's 10 minutes. I've gotten nowhere significant. I'm in the same star system, and it's completely hands-off. Right? So why do we, instead of come up with all these ideas how to kind of repair these like core problems with the game, there's so many core issues with Star Citizen. And I think at its core, quantum travel is one of the biggest ones that needs to just change completely. But as a fan of the game, I think we could be better in a lot of ways. And instead of just, if fuel should matter, why? Ask yourself why fuel should matter. Because in the current experience, it's already so bad that you add extra friction onto the already bad thing, where that friction is not fun. Right? Mobiglass navigation is worse than quantum travel. The two combined are like the ultimate boss of just bad experiences. Right? Like the two combine into the ultimate boss that you just can't beat. Man, I hate Elite Dangerous Quantum Travel 2. It's just mindless hands-on travel. Star Citizen Elite complete opposite and both are bad. We need a middle ground. I don't know what. I think what we need is to shorten. Like somebody had mentioned Eve, right? The time it takes to get through a star system in Eve is so tiny, but you still feel a sense of scale in Eve Online. That's huge, right? Star Citizen is artificially making their map so big just to say they could do it. I wouldn't shorten the QT necessarily. I would shorten the map if it's technically a thing that they could do as a start. Right? So, yeah, but I don't know. So, it's just something that's really frustrating me, and I wanted to see what you guys thought. But it's also just the way we communicate all the time. It's always we accept Star Citizen for what it is when it doesn't have to be this way. I mean, it may. It literally may, because I'm not a game developer and I don't know what the struggles would be to just rip out something core to the game like this and redo it. So I don't want to hide that fact of my ignorance. But at the same time, it's like we're dead in the water if something like this stays the way it is. At the very least, traveling through a star system should take maximum 2 minutes. Like, I don't like. Have you ever tried to do missions in Pyro? Is that the kind of friction that Pyro should provide, or should the friction that Pyro should provide is the exact opposite? Think about what a PvP system would actually look like. Would it be completely spread out, where everybody is so far away from each other in a game that can't fit enough players in a server to make it meaningful? Or would they be close together? If I was to make Pyro today, there would be one planet. Everybody would be forced to have to coexist with each other, and that would create conflict. And that would be a Pyro that would be fun for the people that are looking for that. Right? Again, an idea that CIG had on a napkin that when they put it in game turned out to be the worst idea possible for the goal that they were trying to achieve. So, yeah, that's... Yeah, Nyx is ridiculous too. Traveling 90 gigameters for one mission? Who thought this was fun? Nobody that has touched this game for 5 minutes, right? And that's the thing that I think as backers, we should no longer be accepting these as, like, I know Benoit's going to talk tomorrow. That's one of the things that I think, I haven't put it in the thread, and they've probably already pulled the questions and stuff. But, like, why do star systems have to be so big? This is unneedless friction, and it's not fun at all. So, yeah. Forgive me, but isn't that part of the realism and immersion? What about it is immersive? Emmy, you're trying to grab something. What about it is immersive? You're not even at the computer. Right? Like, let's be real here. It's 1,000 years in the future. Ships can travel at great speeds. So what is the most immersive? I mentioned it already. When you move through a jump point and end up in a vastly different looking place, you feel the sense that you have traveled. That is immersive. Traveling from the Stanton Gateway in Pyro to Terminus is not immersive for any reason. There's immersive, and then there's over the top, ridiculous. You set your quantum travel, and you walk away and go do something else. It's a pause screen, right? So can you get the same sense of scale from a 2-minute travel time that maybe is a little bit more active or something like that? I think so. Yeah, clicking a button and flying on rails is not immersive, guys. I'm sorry. It just isn't. Like Star Wars, when they're in like faster than light travel or whatever it would be called in that game, and all the white is blowing by them, it's essentially the exact same thing, right? That's the opportunity for like character building and like, oh, the players are talking to each other. Yeah, light speed or whatever, right? Okay, now they're talking to each other. We get to tell more of a story. That's not happening when you're playing video games by yourself in a spaceship, right? It's different. Like you're not supposed to have that much downtime. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. I just want to hear what you guys think about it. Obviously, there's some like weird changes, possibly weird, probably just old stuff that isn't updated because they don't do that for tech previews for whatever reason. Where people are freaking out about quantum travel, but it poses the question of like, there's all these things that aren't fun. There's all these ships that aren't fun. Why do we accept it? I'm not saying that we're supposed to like riot or anything like that. But like think about Star Citizen in a different way. Like it needs to be fun. It needs to be fun. I think Star Citizens have accepted things like not being as fun as they possibly could be for the sake of something like immersion and realism. But then ask yourself, like, is quantum travel actually immersive? Right? And the answer is just no, it isn't. So at least for me. And I want to hear what you think. I like doing this stuff. Just going off on letting my mind just think about something and yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think.